the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
Wow, what a night in Scottish football. Again, it comes down to the last game on Saturday. The winner takes all. Final scores tonight: Hearts 3, Falkirk 0, Celtic 2, Motherwell 2. That's how excited I was. Motherwell 2, Celtic 3. The last kick of the ball was a penalty kick. And the score at Ibrox for Rangers 1, Hibs 2. Ethan, how's your nerves?
Yeah, well, what a it's better than you could have imagined it to be from an entertainment point of view. That, of course, the Hearts game was quite straightforward, but technically, I spoke before about Hearts conceding the first goal, and technically they did. Calvin Miller obviously found the back of the net, but it was offside. It looked like the right call, and then Hearts very professional and 3-0, and they looked to be carrying a big advantage to Celtic Park, and it looked like Celtic were going to have to win by 3 goals to win the league at home. But obviously Celtic get that late goal with the last kick of the game at Fir Park through Kelechi Iheanacho from the penalty spot to mean now that Celtic just need to win at home to Hearts and they will be crowned champions, which is obviously, if you had asked Celtic fans, I think going into the split, that was the scenario. I think they would have took it. So yeah, Celtic will probably be almost everyone's favourites now. But you know, this is the chance again for Hearts to really show that they're worthy title winners. But I think Celtic, I don't know how they keep doing it under Martin O'Neill, and they've just worked another miracle. I've still not. I've seen the penalty. I was watching the game, but I'm still not really convinced on why it was given, but I'll go back and watch it to try and understand why it was given. But it looked pretty soft to me at the time and really harsh on Motherwell, who I thought were probably worthy of a point. And now with the late goal at Ibrox as well, Hibs are right in the battle for fourth, just a point behind the Steelmen now. So yeah, crazy night of football, and yeah, it's just been Scottish football, and it's a shame that this season's got to come to an end. Robbie will maybe say otherwise, but from a sort of top of the league point of view, it's been excellent, and yeah, what an excellent 90 minutes of football at Fir Park.
By the way, Robbie, I know you were watching the Hearts game, but what a goal by Spittle. The third goal, that was an absolute belter of a goal. We'll go on to talk about the Hearts game in a minute. But yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you ever seen the goals from the game at Fir Park, Robbie, but I mean, I thought it was very kind of, if you take it back to the beginning, as we always do, like, I thought Motherwell came out all guns blazing, and Celtic were very, very poor, but you must give credit to Motherwell even.
Yeah, exactly that. Because it was a lot of very reminiscent of the last game at Fir Park. Obviously, Wilfred Nancy was the manager then, but I thought Motherwell completely dominated the opening stages, and Celtic couldn't really get a kick of the ball, much like that game back in December that Motherwell won 2-0. But after Elliot Watt got the goal, I thought Celtic slowly worked their way back into the game after even more Motherwell pressure. The Celtic goal, it's a little bit fortunate the way it falls for Daizen Maeda. Yang gets tackled and then it falls for him, but a really good finish. And after that, I thought Celtic were the better team for the remainder of the half, and then going into the second half, I thought Celtic kicked on again, and then Motherwell had spells in the game as well, and then Benjamin Leighlin scores that excellent goal from outside the area. And then Motherwell pressure again, and they look like they're going to get an equaliser. They eventually do through an unlikely source of Liam Gordon off the bench. And then the game looked like it was going to peter out, and neither side was going to get a winner. But then obviously Celtic get the penalty out of virtually nothing. I think it's a long throw from Anthony Ralston from the right-hand side, and it's Nicholson who's up and contests with Trusty, and then it hits his arm, I think, and then that's why it's given. So yeah, a crazy game, and yeah, I really am lost for words at what I've just watched, and still trying to really settle in what's happened. I can't believe Celtic have scored 3 goals at Vale Park and won that match. I know I predicted 3-1, but I couldn't have seen these crazy circumstances, and it sets up an excellent final day. It would have been an excellent final day regardless if Celtic hadn't got the winner. I know it would have been a really uphill battle having to beat Hearts by 3 goals, but the atmosphere would have got behind Celtic regardless. But now it feels like a real uphill battle for Derek McInnes's team. But they'll have confidence that they can go to Celtic Park and do the job. So it's just an excellent opportunity to get more eyes on Scottish football, because I think there'll be hopefully millions of people from outside of Scotland tuning in to watch that last game next week, which will be excellent. And regardless of if Hearts win the league or not, of course, you would think that it'll be better for Scottish football if we get a different winner than Celtic and Hearts did win the league. But regardless of that, this season's been excellent and brought, I imagine, a lot of new eyes to the league, which is the main thing, and hopefully it continues into next season.
And in the natural, come on, scored the penalty. I mean, you lucky sub you become, Ethan.
What was that, Michael?
You would call in the natural a lucky sub coming on again and scoring the winning goal.
Yeah, he's done that so many times this season, it feels like, and similar scenarios as well. I remember at Rugby Park, a late penalty, which was the last kick of the ball, and lots of pressure on him, but he deals with it well. It's a cool penalty and a massive goal for Celtic, which will be reflected on as ultimately probably the goal that won Celtic the league if they are to go and beat Hearts next weekend.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, for all Celtic's downfall in the first half, you must give credit to Motherwell. I don't know how many times Robbie has come on the show this season and plays Motherwell. I mean, they haven't got 1 or 2 good players. I think they've got about 5 or 6.
Aye, I mean, Michael, I don't know where to start. I mean, you've had AGM for it, you've had Wilfred Nancy, you've had Martin O'Neill twice, you've had Brendan Rodgers leaving after 8 games, you've had everything piled into one season. You look at them down the table, and I struggle to believe that. I can't believe Celtic are still in with a chance of this. It is absolutely baffling when you think about it. Everything that's went wrong this season for Celtic, and yet they still, if they beat Hearts on Saturday, they win it. What a situation for Celtic. Even you must be buzzing at the prospect of winning this on Saturday, because Celtic shouldn't have been near this, let's be honest. With everything that's happened this season, Celtic should have been away for this, and Rangers shouldn't have even been third, by the way, with the way their season started. I mean, wow, I don't know how Celtic keep doing it, but it's these moments where I've watched the penalty back about 50 times, and I don't know if he's gave it for the elbow or the hand, and I'm really struggling to believe that it hits the hand. I really don't know what that penalty's been given for, but it's moments like that win your league. And Ian,
I think it was an elbow, by the way.
If he's getting it,
and if it was an elbow, why did get a red card?
Aye. Well, I think if you're arguing it's an elbow, I think it's a very soft elbow, to be honest with you. I don't think it's...
It doesn't matter, it's still an elbow.
I know, but your argument is Michael's looking at the ball. Like, he doesn't even know where Trusty is. He's so focuses on winning that ball in that situation. But I don't know. Anyway, Celtic convert the penalty in such a pressurised moment to get Celtic back on track in the league, when at times, let's be honest, if it finishes 2 each, I don't think Celtic overturn that goal difference on Saturday, to be honest with you. So it's one of these moments where Celtic are to go and win the league on Saturday. Look, you can only give them credit because they've deserved every moment of it. The fact that you can have so many difficulties, so much gone wrong for you in a season, and Martin O'Neill comes in, and by the way, Martin O'Neill, if Celtic win the league or the double, even everybody else will be building the statues the moment the game ends, because he deserves it. Because what other manager turns that around? I mean, it is truly baffling to think at the start of the season, if you told Ethan, all right, Martin O'Neill will be the Celtic manager with 1 game to go and you'll be sitting a point behind Hearts, he probably would have laughed at me, to be honest with you, if I told him that. So just a baffling season. Cheers, Robertson. Yeah, it's going to be a cracker on Saturday. I cannot wait.
Yeah, no, I can't. It'll be excellent, and I think it was. I think it's been given as a handball, but I'm really not 100% sure because
I'd say it's a very soft handball if you're going to get it as a handball.
Because the way it bounces off Nicholson, it doesn't look like it's hit his hand. It looks like it's maybe hit his hand and then like his forehead. But
why would you ever put your hand in that situation when you jump like that?
I really don't
Why?
know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it again. Yeah, I think you're right, Robert. I think it's gave it for the handball, and he didn't need to put out his hand.
Somebody needs to check his Bet365 account. Because that is ridiculous, that hand placement. I've got it freeze frame right now where he puts his on it. I cannot work out what Nicholson's trying there. Somebody tried to say online it was a bit leverage, that there's nothing there to say that he's getting leverage out of that.
No,
you don't up in front of his face. You can't have it there. It just doesn't.
I think Nicholson's really done Motherwell at a point there, to be honest with you. Look, this has been the best season of my life. I've never seen a season quite like this one. There's been so many.
Robert, I think you should wait until after the playoffs and then say that.
Listen, no matter what happens with my club, it's still been mental, Michael. I mean, who would have thought that we have a possibility in a week and a half that we could have Hearts win the league, St Mirren win the League Cup, and Dunfermline Athletic win the Scottish Cup, and St Mirren go down, by the way, on top of that could happen, and I don't think it's going to happen, by the way. But that is a possibility. Like, that is wild for a season.
Yeah, it has. It's been a crazy season, and no matter how it ends on Saturday, I agree. I think it's been excellent, and yeah, we just hope that the game on Saturday lives up to it, and I think it will do. I think it'll be a great game, but yeah, a really strange penalty at the end there, but one that, looking back on it, it does look like it hits Nicholson's hand, which is up by his face, so I don't think he can really have too many complaints about it, unfortunately. And for Motherwell, if they had held on to that point, it wouldn't have made much of a difference, because then they would have been 2 ahead of Hibs. So Hibs need to beat them either way, at home to Motherwell on Saturday. But obviously Motherwell failing to get a win tonight and Hibs beating Rangers. Crazy. Rangers have lost now 4 games in a row. It could be what do you think the odds or the belief, if you had asked people that Celtic were going to win, maybe we're going to win all 5 games of the split, and Rangers were going to lose all 5 games of the split?
Well, that's a good point, right? Because the last time that Rangers were at Falkirk, right, they had the momentum, and you would say Falkirk, Rangers were going to win the league, and Celtic's going to fail again this season, and it's the fun old games, as I say. But I'm baffled, guys, right? Not by this season or the show, right? But so if it's given for handball, right? Why is that not a red card then? I don't know what the handball rule is now.
I don't think there is any red cards for handball unless it's
the handballs if it's on purpose, like to stop a goal in it.
Yeah, I think it's denial of a goal scoring opportunity.
What about the Hibs goal the other week then?
Try to hang back to what one you're talking about.
Against Celtic for the goal.
I can't even remember.
I know. Let me hang back to what you're talking about. So you're talking
about for the Hibs goal the other week.
Oh yes, yes.
John Newell's.
Yeah.
No, I think that's allowed. I don't know how that got allowed, that goal.
But what I'm saying is it's still a handball. So why did you not? Obviously he got the penalty, he got a goal and all that kind of thing, but why did you not get a red card for that? Because it was a handball. Goldson with 2 hands up at his face at Ibrox. Yeah, never got a.
The thing is, Michael, no, I don't even think the referees know what. I don't even think the referees know what a red card is
Nah.
these days. We could go through the whole handbook, we probably still wouldn't know, but look, Celtic won. That is literally at this point all that matters. Celtic got the win, and what has just been an absolute crazy season that just seems to keep giving. I mean, I'm expecting a 6 each on Saturday, to be honest with you, with like a 93rd minute winner for somebody, and I just really don't know what to expect anymore. Anything can happen. What I will say is, though, Hearts should be so proud of what they've put into this season. It's no easy to keep on top of Celtic or Rangers for a whole season. You've seen that with Aberdeen last time. You've seen that numerous times over the years. You know, it's usually by this point Celtic or Rangers have pulled away for the pack. And Hearts have managed to keep themselves going. But you'd flip that into Celtic. You go, well, you know what? Fair enough to Celtic. Celtic have somehow managed to keep up with Hearts in this title fight. Martin O'Neill's somehow managed to get a bit of courage into these players. And Saturday, it all comes to a head. And I'm, from a neutral point of view, absolutely buzzing to watch that on Saturday. That's going to be some showpiece.
By the way,
Yes.
even the confidence is basically going out of Hearts now, because obviously they've been top of the league since September, and
Yeah.
like it comes down to 12:30 on a Saturday. And Martin O'Neill's been saying it for however long. Like he came back into Celtic. Celtic's been chasing all that time, and obviously Celtic's on Hearts' coattails now, and it just comes down to Saturday.
Yeah, that's it. It's that's it. And whatever's happened before in the split, before the split, doesn't really matter now. Obviously, it does, because if it's a draw, then Hearts take the advantage and will win the league. But they've got to go to Celtic Park and disrupt a Celtic team which are on the best form they've been on all season. I don't think they're not playing like Celtic teams in recent past, but they're certainly playing, I think, the best we've seen this Celtic team play. And to win 4 games out of 4 in the split is ridiculous. I don't think anyone could have seen that coming. And I really do have Celtic as big favourites now. I think they will beat Hearts, but there is still Derek McInnes would tell you otherwise. Lawrence Shankland, the rest of the Hearts players would tell you otherwise. They'll still believe they can go to Celtic Park and win, and that's what makes it really interesting. And as you said, Michael, they've been top of the league since September for a reason, and they'll feel it's theirs to lose, and they want to win. Obviously, I don't think they'll be setting up at Celtic Park to get a draw. I think they'll go there to try and win. And this Hearts team are capable of beating Celtic. We've seen it this season. So the league is not over by any means, but that's a massive, massive win for Celtic tonight, and a massive win for Hearts as well, because to win by 3-0 is no easy feat against a really solid Falkirk team, as we've seen across the season. So yeah, it sets it up really well. I'm interested at the Rangers Hibs result as well. I don't know what the fallout for that's going to be. I never seen Rangers winning that game after seeing the lineup news about James Tavernier. He obviously was in the ground to take the ovation from the fans, and he seemed to be quite emotional. And you would expect that. He's obviously spent a large part of his life, and not only his football career at Rangers. And unfortunately, he doesn't get to take part in the match day squad to get the send off on the pitch as a player. I just thought Hibs would win that match, and they went on to do so. And my prediction was right. I got all 3 results right, not the exact scores, but I think massive win for Hibs, and gives them real probably incentive and confidence for the game at the weekend against Motherwell.
Robbie, let's dive in. Sorry, Robbie, I was just going to say let's dive into the Hearts game. Obviously, I've not I saw bits and pieces, but I just saw that Spittle goal. As I said, that was a brilliant goal, fit to win any game. In fact, they won that game out of the park. But Falkirk got a goal chopped off in the fast 5 minutes. Was it Calvin Miller?
It was Calvin Miller. He was just slightly offside. It actually looked closer than first. Like when you first see it, you're like, right, he's going to let this play on, then he's going to chop it off because it's clear and obvious. But you actually need to draw the lines to just see how close it is. I think it was Finlay that just didn't push up quick enough, allowing Miller through. And it was a lovely finish for him, to be fair, but I'd agree that it should have been chopped off. And I thought actually Falkirk started the game really, really well. The opening 10 minutes, they were the better team. I thought Hearts didn't really stand up to the pressure too well in the opening 10, 15 minutes. But after that, Michael, I mean, Hearts just completely took control of the game. They just started shining. You know, as soon as that first goal goes in, you just know they're going to start taking even more control. And with the crowd behind them as well, it was always going to go one way after that. But I thought Falkirk had some decent moments, to be fair. I mean, it wasn't a good performance, like a brilliant performance for them, but they looked all right in spells, especially that opening 15 minutes. I thought Falkirk really did look better at times. And as soon as that Frankie Kent goal goes in, it's one-way traffic for that point, to be honest.
Yeah,
no, definitely. There we go. Yeah, so I mean, I think it will be a massive blow to Hearts, Ethan, because I don't know if you saw, I turned it over when the final whistle went in the Celtic game, and all the Hearts players, family, wives, and all that on the park, and I think they were ready to kind of celebrate, but also when they heard that penalty and a goal going on, they thought, it bust a bubble a wee bit.
Yeah, it would have done. Obviously, Hearts would have loved to have a 3 goal cushion effectively heading to Celtic Park, or a 2 goal cushion, you might say, heading to Celtic Park. But obviously, it wasn't to be when Celtic get that late penalty goal. And yeah, the Hearts players can't fully celebrate yet. The Celtic players didn't fully celebrate yet because there's still a massive job to be done for both teams. They've both done excellent to still be in the fight and still be here on the last day. So many people had wrote both the teams off for different reasons throughout the season, but they're both still here. They both have managers that have a lot of belief in their players. They've both battled a lot of adversity recently. Back-to-back games, Celtic go a goal behind. I think 3 games on the bounce, Celtic have conceded a goal to either go behind or to be drawn back level. Before tonight, Hearts had conceded the first 5 goals, or the first goal in a game, 5 games in a row. They obviously conceded the offside goal tonight, which would have been an opportunity for them to be shell-shocked, but they stuck to playing their football and got the goals that were well taken to really settle the nerves in the stadium, and had probably a few moments of enjoyment when Celtic went behind or when Celtic were drawn back level. I think it was the same at Ibrox as well. I think there was one side was celebrating Motherwell goals and one side was obviously celebrating Celtic goals, and that's just what it's been like in Scottish football this season. So an excellent end to the night for the Hibs fans, especially probably, that Celtic get a goal and are now favourites probably to win the league over their great rivals Hearts, and the fact that Hibs have beaten Rangers at Ibrox to really have the possibility now to go for 4th place, which I don't think they'll do. I think Motherwell will do enough, but Hibs at home, they've got Josh Mulligan back as well, who's an excellent player. So, you know, that's a game to keep an eye on as well. And I think a fear of Rangers don't get a result and Danny Rowe could be out the door. I know he came out and said that he's been backed, but to lose 5 games in a row as a Rangers manager is just not acceptable. I don't think... how many games did Wilfred Nancy lose in a row? Was it 4 he lost in a row? So, yeah. I'm not comparing the two by any means. I know it does seem like that. But
they're miles apart.
Yeah. But, you know, we're entering in dangerous territory when you go on a run like that, especially to end the season as well. So, yeah, I think Rangers need a win. And
There'll be no Champions League football as well, Ethan.
Yeah, exactly that. There's obviously been a lot invested into that squad, and they don't have that influx, the potential influx of Champions League money coming in, which may reconsider the 49ers sort of how much they want to invest in the summer. So, yeah, I think it's massive that Danny Rowe tries and wins back over the Rangers fans in this last game, if possible. But yeah, I think it's a long, long way back for him. But I think he will get the chance to do it. But I think there's Rangers fans turning against him by the minute. So yeah, it's a really difficult one, and just completely crazy that Rangers are now 10 and 11 points behind the top two, because they were a lot of people's favourites a couple of weeks ago, and now here we are. They're not even close. They're not even in the same ballpark. So yeah, crazy season we've had here in Scotland, and hopefully it continues on the last day, and hopefully the craziness continues into the World Cup, and Scotland can do something there. Yeah.
I would get Scotland to win the World Cup, and that'll be a bonkers season. Paul Donaldson says, I saw the penalty, it looked a bit soft on 1st of June, but there you go. I mean, you could argue the point, Robbie, it was a soft penalty, or it was a definite penalty and all the rest of it, but the pressure was on him in the natural to put the ball in the back of the net, because, I mean, it's all right getting the penalty, and Celtic fans were going wild at that point, but you still got to put the ball in the net, and that was it was a cool penalty.
As I like to say, Michael, you know what my saying is, Brendan Rodgers' phone book helmet once again. No, look, it's cool, calm and collected for Ian Atro. Knows what he needs to do. There's actually been a lot of controversy on this penalty incident. There's been former Hearts players, former Celtic players speaking out about it. Named coming to a general conclusion, as you probably expect. People are really split on it. I think we'll know a bit more when we hear from where they call them at what 18 days for now, 17 days for now, when the league's already there, so it doesn't really matter. But look, Ian Atro still had. You're right, Michael. Ian Atro had to step up and put it away. And look, I'm sure you guys watched the game. I'm sure Motherwell had chances. I'm sure Celtic had chances. We can't just keep. I don't like that. I'm seeing fans online going, "Oh, this decision won Celtic League. This decision done this." Both Hearts have had chances all season to win games. Celtic have had chances all season to win games. Both teams are in the position they are right now because they've maybe not just get away for the other. So this isn't a league changing decision. Like, of course, it is in a way, but it's no overall. Hearts have had plenty of chances. Celtic have had plenty of chances. It's all about who's got the ball, who can stand up to it, who can handle the pressure the most. And right now, as Ethan mentioned earlier, it's looking like it's going to be Celtic come Saturday.
I mean, even if I said to you in December, Celtic's going to win the league, and that was after St Mirren beat Celtic in the final, and you would actually book me into the nearest hospital.
So if I can just go like, what one thing
I mean, you
I've
can still do that. You can still do that if you want, Ethan.
Sorry to come in here, but one thing I have seen is Gary Lineker called the VAR decision the worst one he's seen in his life. So take it that what you will. That
well, the penalty at the end.
Yeah, the penalty at the end. Aye.
Wow. Was he eating a packet of Walkers at the time?
Jeff Stelling's also said he seeded the ball. Guys, this is it's too. The problem with this type of penalty is it's too split. Named knows the rule. That's the problem. But even carry on.
I've seen. I'll try. I'll send it into the group chat, so you can see it. But yeah, I've just sent it in there. The video that I've seen that maybe clarifies that it does hit his hand, but I don't know. It's always going to cause it, isn't it?
Aye, and Ethan, I know you were asking for updates for Ibrox. Danny Rowe was there speaking to the Rangers Ultras after the game. After watching his side slip to the fourth defeat in the spin, he doesn't look best pleased, to be honest with you, standing there talking to them. But Aye, that's the sort of scenes you can imagine that are happening at Ibrox.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, what a night, even what a season as well. But but what can you? I know but what can you say about Martin O'Neill? He's come back in twice, and he's going to run. He's 90 minutes away from winning the league, and 90 minutes away from winning a double.
Yeah. The job he's done is remarkable, and had it not been for him being replaced by Wilfred Nancy, you could easily make the case that he'd be well on for about to win a treble right now.
Yeah.
He got Celtic to the League Cup final, and you probably would have expected his team to take nothing away from St Mirren, of course, by far the better team on the day, and a great run to the final. But I think they would have had a lot better chance with Martin O'Neill in the dugout, and now they're one.
Let's just say I'm glad Nancy was in the dugout for that game than Martin O'Neill, put it that way.
I'm sure you were, Robbie. But no, one game away from winning the league title, one game away from winning the Scottish Cup. And this is a really, really poor Celtic team by recent standards. But give credit to them over these recent games that they've stepped up and they've done what all they can do, and that's winning every game and hope results fall their way. Ultimately, the only result that Hearts have allowed to fall their way was the Saturday night's game, which still obviously leaves Hearts with advantage going into the last game, but it would have been a taller order for Celtic had Hearts came out on top in that game. But yeah, what a job he's done, and I think there'll be major calls for him to have a statue, or some people will probably start wanting him to be the manager again next season, and you can't exactly argue with it with what he's done with the state the football club's been in this season.
I mean, Robbie, I know we're not here to talk about Nancy, right? But what's Martin O'Neill done differently from Nancy? Is it a case of Martin O'Neill kept it simple, whereas Nancy came in and changed too many things at the one time? And by the way, his first game was against Hearts.
Aye, Nancy was me when I first booted up Football Manager. I'm just putting different roles on everybody and just try to see what happened. No, but seriously, look, let's not forget, Nancy didn't actually start off that bad against Hearts, did he? I thought it was a pretty decent performance what I can remember. But
no. See when you think back to that game, guys, it reminds me of Angie Postecoglou's team for the first half an hour, because they were kind of like high pressing in the game, and then it just went to pot.
Oh no, I completely fell away. Like the less said about Wilfred Nancy, I think for the whole of Scottish football, the better, because everything about him was dull. I mean, the press conferences, the way you spoke, the way you managed the team, the tactics board, everything just absolutely combined into one. Just him and Russell Martin. I mean, hopefully they'll never spoke about again in Scottish football. But Martin O'Neill has kept it simple, but Martin O'Neill's got that touch of, I'm going to put the fight into you. I'm going to inspire you and tell you can go and win this league. And that's what Wilfred Nancy didn't have. He didn't have the fighting spirit. And that's what you need as a manager. You need the guy that can tell you, look, you're good enough to go in and do this. And look, I know Celtic players know they can go in and do it because most of them have been there before last season. So they know they can. But sometimes you just need that wee bit of fire in your belly to get you going. And they've created that in abundance. Look, Celtic don't need to play like the old Celtic this season, because Celtic know if they just get through the games, they're going to win the league, and they're doing that week after week. And I really think, and it's a big if, obviously, with the way the current circumstances are, if Celtic win this league, what is it going to take for another team to stop Celtic or Rangers at this point? Like, how much money is Tony Bloom going to need to invest into this Hearts team before they become challengers? And I know they're 9 years ahead of schedule and whatever, but this is the best attempt that I've seen in my lifetime. So, like, what's it actually going to take?
Yeah, well, you said Celtic or Rangers, but you could maybe exclude Rangers from that. What is it going to take for someone outside? I know Rangers obviously are the most recent team to do it in the COVID season, but it seems like no matter how poor Celtic's recruitment can be, no matter how many mistakes they can make throughout a season on and off the pitch, that they still are going to looks like they're obviously big favourites now, I think, in almost everyone's eyes to win in the last day. And I think we are almost talking about it as it is a foregone conclusion, which it is not. And maybe Hearts will like the fact that they're underdogs going into that game. But yeah, it is crazy. I've said it throughout the season. If Celtic win the league title this season, then we may as well just pack up because it doesn't seem like anyone else is going to win it. But then again, you could make the point that do the Celtic board again rest on their laurels because they have won the league and they maybe have won the Scottish Cup, and then that opens the door for ambitious clubs, more ambitious clubs, which I would say are Hearts and Rangers this season, to close the gap again. I mean, the gap is virtually nothing between Hearts and Celtic going into this final game. But yeah, I think Celtic are going to have got off the hook if they win this league title, certainly. But it shows what can be done with a little bit of strategic investment and just being ambitious in Scotland, and we've seen with Motherwell as well. And tonight, I think, was the story of Motherwell's season. I don't really know how they come away from that match without anything, and I think if they just had a little bit more of a clinical edge, a little bit more of a know-how to see out games, then Motherwell would have been right up with which was a 3-horse race for most of it, now a 2. Because I think Motherwell have shown countless times this season that they are the best footballing team in the country, but they just fell short on too many occasions, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully next season's as good, but I find it difficult for it to be, because this season's just been absolutely incredible, and whatever happens on the final day, it'll be a memorable season regardless.
Yeah, we'll come back to talk about the game tonight, but there was another game over, and I would say in tennis terms it was a dead rubber, but a good win for Hibs away from home. Hibs beat Rangers 2-1, and Robbie has got some quotes from Danny Rowe after the game.
Aye, so there's a lot of quotes here, so I'll not go through them all because we'll be here all night, but I'll just sum up the sort of main talking point, of course, the Tavernier situation, which we sort of went in depth a bit before the game. So Danny Rowe's quote was, "Today it showed me we need a strong cut, strong changes. We cannot have what we have had. I will not accept this. With Tavernier, I didn't expect this from him today. On Monday, I was told he needed an injection. I convinced him to move it so he could play tonight. I made my decision on the start," and the big quote, "It is my decision, not his." And finally, he didn't accept that and he stayed away from the team. I was looking forward to giving him minutes. So, Ethan, I remember you were saying on the pre-show that about Danny Rowe stamping his authority. I think that's probably the biggest way to stamp your authority. Call it the captain for not being happy about the situation.
Yeah, and that's it. And Danny Rowe, he's not going to back down, I don't think. And that's how you've got to deal with players. There is going to be difficult characters in a dressing room, and Danny Rowe's obviously got his way of seeing the situation. James Tavernier's got a different way of seeing it, and ultimately Danny Rowe's the boss of the players, and he needs to show that he's going to be the man to lead Rangers to success next season, and that a large majority of that group of players will be there, no matter how much of a rebuild you think Rangers need. And that's the way to do it. But it's obviously not worked tonight because the headlines will be James Tavernier left out of final home match of Rangers' career as Rangers lose 4th straight game. But Danny Rowe will probably think that he done the right thing, and it might be the death of him at Ibrox, but he's obviously made his decision, and I understand why he's stuck with it. But yeah, it's a really unfortunate situation. I think that James Tavernier doesn't get the send-off he maybe wanted. But yeah.
I think it's very disrespectful. A guy that, and you don't say this about many players in football, and I think the last player I said that about Michael was probably Scott Brown. There's no many guys that pour their heart and soul into one club in their career, and I think James Tavernier is the definition of that. I think he put every minute he could in one Rangers to succeed, and they didn't always succeed under him. As I mentioned earlier, he didn't have the trophy cabinet that Scott Brown ended up having at Celtic, but he put in every single minute. and to try to make Rangers good. And that's all you can ask for as a leader, as a player, as somebody backstage. You hear all the interviews of players looking up to Tavernier, or the players taking inspiration. I think that is completely disrespectful for Danny Rowe to not even give him that moment, that in a game that meant nothing on the basis of it. To Rangers anyway, it meant absolutely nothing, and they ended up losing the game anyway. That to me says everything. That shows that Danny Rowe doesn't care enough, because if he cared enough, he would have gave Tavernier that moment with him and his family and his children, and would have gave him the chance to have a proper goodbye to his fans that he's cared so much for early years, and he denied him at that moment. And I know he still go to ultimately, but knowing the way he would have wanted, I mean, that's him now. He's never going to lead his team back out of Ibrox, so that's him. That's his career at Rangers now.
Ethan, I was going to ask you about incident at the Celtic game. We never kind of like touched upon it as well. I think it was at the end of the first half where Engels kind of hit the crossbar and Maeda tangled, you would say, with the goalkeeper. Do you think that was a penalty?
No, I think there's two sort of penalty contentious things out with the penalty that was actually given, one for each side. I wouldn't have liked to see that be given as a penalty. I don't really know what the goalkeeper, Callum Ward's meant to do. He comes and gets the ball. Maeda's not even looking at the goalkeeper, and he does take the ball, Ward. So I think they got that right. Arne Engels should have scored that. I thought Arne Engels didn't have a very good game at all. After I thought he was excellent at the weekend. And then the other one was the who was it? I can't remember who it was. Let me double check. I can't remember what Motherwell player it was. I think it was Callum Slattery. It was
down in the box.
Yeah, it was Slattery that was down in the box. He done really well actually, and then cut inside Callum McGregor, but he slipped before McGregor really made contact with him, and I think they got that decision right also. And the more I'm seeing of this penalty at the end, I think they might have got that right as well. But the thing that everyone's going to keep saying is that Hearts didn't get that penalty the other day that maybe they should have got, and I think they should have got it for Park when Kizridis was brought down by Maswanise. So, I think you can always keep going back to things that went before and decisions that didn't go a team's way or did go a team's way, and that's just the way it will always be. But yeah,
I'm in the mind of even it was a penalty, right, for Hearts rather than like, no getting away from that. But I think Kizridis never helped himself by rolling over about 7 times.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. With that. That's what I thought as well. The theatrics don't help him.
No,
and he's maybe not even holding the right part of his body that he was fouled in. So yeah. These things don't help, but I think they got that one wrong. But I do think they probably, from what I've seen now, they got this one right tonight because Nicholson's hand seems to be up by his face. It seems to hit his hand, and that's a penalty now in the modern day game. And yeah, it's really harsh on Motherwell as we've said, but unfortunately, he gives them a decision to make.
See, if you were making up the rules, Ethan, would you give that as a penalty? Would that be in your rule book and that's a penalty? Like, see if you could completely change the rules, would you have that as a penalty?
I probably would, because I think his hand doesn't need to be there. And I know that people say when you're playing football, you need your arms up to protect yourself when you're jumping, especially when there's opposition players around. I do completely understand that, but you don't jump with your hand up there, and that's ultimately where the balls hit him. It's unfortunate. I'm sure he's not meant to have his hand there, and I think the handball rule as a whole probably needs revamped, but it's always going to be a subjective call, and that's why it's always such a problem, especially in this country when we sometimes don't have the best angles of things, and that's why people are slowing down and cutting videos to try and prove that why the penalty was given to maybe support their team's agenda or something like that. But yes, it's always going to be difficult. But I probably would say that was a penalty. I've seen a lot. A penalty's given for a lot less, especially in you look at some of the penalties that are given in the Champions League. It's ridiculous. But I think he.
What about the one? Have you seen the Kilmarnock one back yet?
No, I haven't seen that one.
A ridiculous decision for a penalty, by the way. But I think I'm going to agree with you. It should be a penalty, but only if we're going to be consistent with it. I don't want to see that same situation next season and then the referees don't get it, because then what's the point? But Derek McInnes has had his say. Derek McInnes, a very simple quote. I think it's disgusting. I don't think it's a penalty kick. That's what Derek McInnes says on that incident. So no surprise with what the Hearts boss said, I don't think. But I look, if you're going to give penalties like that, I think there should be. The problem is it's so opinionated that it's so hard to get a definitive rule on handball penalties. That's the problem. But there should be a guide that if you're going to give this as a penalty, anything that looks even remotely similar to it, you need to give it as well, because you need to stick. Because I'm very happy with VAR if it's going to be consistent. I might not agree with one of the rules, but if they're going to be consistent with giving it, then I'm more than happy to have VAR. But it's the inconsistency that's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and it does look like it hits his hand, but at the same time, it might not have. And what people will wonder is that a sort of clearing obvious error, so to say? But if his arm's up next to his face and it hits his hand, then that, I would say that's a clear and obvious error. But can you clearly say that it hits his arm? I don't know if you can. So
the video you put in the group, I think, is the closest you're going to get, because it does look like it hits his hand pretty clear. So Jens just spoke. Jens just said, I'm in total shock. I thought I'd seen it all this year, but apparently I haven't. That's his thoughts on the penalty. I mean, you could literally go all day. You've got Darren O'Dea, Chris Boyd. You can imagine what Chris has said on the penalty incident. At the end of the day, as I said to you, Michael, it doesn't matter. Hearts have had chance after chance after chance to pull away in this title fight, and they've not taken it. Celtic have had a lot of chances to maybe be ahead of Hearts by this point as well. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're in this situation. There's the biggest game in 40 odd years coming up on Saturday to decide who's going to win the league, and I'm just want to look forward to that. I was enjoying the split because there was absolutely zero VAR controversy in the first sort of few games of the split, and now this has obviously happened. But I just don't want this to ruin what's been. Genuinely, we'll look back at it and being an absolutely incredible season.
Paul Donaldson says the World Cup squad has been announced next week. Well done, Paul, for setting me up, by the way, because we've got a special show on Monday night where Robbie and the guys are going to guess the squad, and we're going to get it completely and utterly out the park.
We're doing it next Monday?
Tuesday.
No, I mean, Mike was saying we're doing, I guess, a squad show on Monday, but
yeah,
is it only a 55-man squad that's coming up?
No, it's another full shebang that's out on the Tuesday.
I was going to say, lads, I'm not predicting 55 players.
No.
I think it's not the actual squad that's out on Tuesday, the final.
Yeah, Tuesday is, yeah.
So when did they do the 55?
I think they've already submitted the 55. We just have.
Really? I thought we would have seen the 55-man squad.
I thought that as well, but apparently, if what I've heard is correct, and they've already submitted that, and they're just going to reveal to us the trimmed down version.
We haven't spoke about the Niglands goal tonight, Ethan. That was a brilliant goal. That I think that was 2-1 at that point. Yeah,
losing track of it. Easy to lose track of all the goals.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was an excellent goal, and he's not scored one as of late as frequently as he was scoring before, and it was an excellent goal. A goal that probably deserved to win the match in isolation. But as I said, I thought Motherwell would have been well worth a point, and credit to them for fighting back and getting an equaliser. But obviously it wasn't to be for them when that goal was in. And yeah, this penalty, I know it keeps speaking about it, but it's going to spark controversy and discussions for months to come. I think until August or July, whenever next season starts, we'll still be talking about it.
Yeah, Martin O'Neill, by the way, says we got a penalty, which looks as if it's pretty clear cut to me. So
yeah, I think if you look at the slowed down video, it looks like it hits his hand. If you want to decide that it hit his hand in that video, then it does look clear to you. If you want to decide that it doesn't hit his hand in the video, then it's not clear to you. So it's going to be a subjective decision. But yeah, obviously it's a massive call at this stage in the season, and it's one that's going to be criticised and discussed for a length of time.
It's so
unless,
funny
unless Hearts win or draw next
exactly.
week.
See if Hearts by 5 o'clock on Saturday are league champions. This doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Yeah, I know. I mean that the word, Robbie, that you quoted from McInnes. What was it? What did you say? Disgusting.
You said I think it's disgusting.
I think that was a bit over the top for Derek McInnes to say that. I mean, look, I get it.
It wasn't even at Derek McInnes' game.
I know.
I mean, he must have actually got a helicopter to see that penalty and then back again. As well. But I kind of get that guy for it, because I know that somebody said, somebody on this show, i.e. Mr. Duffy, make a video on Saturday night saying that if we lose the league, it's down to, who was it on Saturday night? Nick Walsh? No, Stephen McLean, was it?
Graham's TikTok was phenomenal, by the way.
But my point here, guys, is there was still 10 minutes to go in the game. So what happens if Murrow scored that penalty and Hearts penalty?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if Hearts went on and won the game? So the point I'm making is there was still time for Hearts to win the game.
By the way, McInnes has fired at some very fiery quotes. He said, when they were checking a 96-minute penalty, you assume they are getting it. It's disgusting. We're up against everybody, was his exact words. I don't think it's a penalty. Ooh. If I'm Motherwell, I'm really disappointed. It's so poor, and it looks as though Celtic have been given it. They are very fortunate. So he's no Delboy's no shying flying about the allegations, is he?
No, he does need to. I think he needs to watch what he's doing. He doesn't get a touchline ban, because he obviously was saying on Saturday, and I agree with him, but he was saying that Stephen McLean had a poor game, was it? He said on Saturday night. So yeah, he needs to watch what he's doing, McInnes. But he's in. I think he's loved the sort of underdog factor of Hearts, and that's what he's thrived on all season. So the fact that going into the last game, Hearts are favourites, not favourites, sorry, they're underdogs, but they have the advantage going to Celtic Park, a place where they've had success so far this season. But obviously that will caveat that by saying it was against a Wilfred Nancy Celtic and not a Martin O'Neill one. So yeah, massive game. But I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully the controversy maybe quiets down a little bit about the penalty. But it's not going to. We live in
No, it's getting to the point now where worldwide people like Gary Lineker could even commenting on it. So that's not going away. Chris Sutton's gave it a all clear. He obviously thinks it's a penalty. I look at the problem. There's never going to be a definitive answer on this, because Willie Collum's not going to give one either. I very much doubt we're going to see a definitive answer to this. But again, as you guys have said, if Hearts are lifting that Premiership trophy on Saturday, it doesn't matter.
You wouldn't mention that again.
Or if Celtic win 3-0 or by 3 goals on Saturday, then it will be made irrelevant. I don't know if that will happen though. I think that was probably why that goal at the end was so big. But yeah, obviously I think it's going to be really interesting to see the fallout on this, and why that decision was made. Like, it'll be interesting to see why the decision at the the Motherwell Hearts game on Saturday night was made as well.
I'm working a wee bit of magic right now, just quickly, guys. Somebody made a very good point that I've just seen. If you look at both of these, what one would you think would begin as a handball?
The one on the left, probably.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. You know, it's like it's so difficult to handball rule. It's genuinely just baffling. But I think they both should. By looking at the sort of zoomed in angle that Ethan showed, it should begin as a penalty because it has hit his horn.
Well, why not say like you know when you see goals, right, and you say, oh, that's tight. But if that was a ref in that decision, if that was tight, I would just give the goal. Same as a penalty. If you can't work it if it's a penalty or not, just give it.
Yeah. No, but I think the point is that if you can't work out if it's a penalty, then it shouldn't be given because they didn't give it initially. I think that'll be the point that most of the people...
Well, some people are making the point, right, that surely if a ball hits the hand, it doesn't generate that much power because the ball does still move at some force when it leaves the sort of contact. So I suppose that's another argument. But look, we can sit and break down the scientific physics of every handball and we could be here for hours. But like at the end of the day, again, it's down to Hearts. This is all it is now. Hearts need to go out and show why they're top of the league. Hearts need to go and show why they've got a great record against every team in the country this season because sorry, I can't get my English out. They're yet to lose at one of these big games. So it's time for them to go and show why they should be champions at the end of the day.
Robbie, you were watching the Hearts game tonight. What was the atmosphere, right? Because I noticed that I can't remember the guy's first name. Chisholm was singing the Hearts song before the game.
I'm on the Hearts song guy, that's what I call him now. I don't know his actual name, but I just love him, to be honest with you. I think it's brilliant. The atmosphere after I thought for the sort of 5th minute to the 10th, it's Colin Chisholm, by the way. I thought the atmosphere when Falkirk was sort of putting on a bit of pressure wasn't too high, but honestly, the moment Motherwell took the lead in that game, Tynecastle went off its nut. It just erupted. The fans were going mental. And as soon as Kent scores the header, it goes even more bonkers, to be honest with you. Hearts are generating really, really good atmosphere in these league games, which unfortunately for them, they're going to get the privilege on Saturday because they're going to be away at Celtic. So, you know, they had to use everything they could get. But the atmosphere at Tynecastle was amazing. I thought Hearts sort of started off a bit shaky, but they stood up to the pressure relatively well, and they'll be hoping to try and keep that up. Obviously, going away to Celtic on Saturday, which isn't going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but that's the kind of fuel that the Hearts players need to savour. You know, the moments at Tynecastle where Colin Chisholm is singing the Hearts song, the fans are up for it. They need to think about that in their head when they're going to Celtic on Saturday.
Yeah. Ethan, you'll not be on the show on Friday, I don't think. So, am I like asked for your prediction?
Of course you are, Michael. I think Celtic will get the job done. I find it difficult to see Hearts going to Celtic Park and avoiding defeat. I just think Celtic, the atmosphere will be behind the players. Celtic Park will be rocking like it was on Sunday, and I just think Celtic will have too much for Hearts. But that doesn't take away from what Hearts have done this season and what there is to build on for next season. As we've said, this wasn't a 1 year flash in the pan for Tony Bloom. This was a long-term project, and they'll be hoped to be back again next year and be even stronger. And it's hard to be even more competitive in the league. I mean, they could still win it. But I just hope for an excellent game, and I think it will be. But I do think Celtic will go on to win the league title again.
I'll probably. Oh, sorry, Michael.
No, but I was just going to say I don't. I was just going to say hold on to your.
No, I'm probably not going to be here on Friday, so should I just give my prediction as well while we're at it?
Yes,
so a bit of news. I will be interviewing Jamie for Off the Underside for the show on Friday, so although I'll not be there live, that will be available to watch on Friday's show. Such a big game, isn't it? I'm going to agree with you, and I can't see it other than a Celtic win, so I'm going to go Celtic 1, Hearts now.
Ah, right. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so thanks for watching tonight, and thanks for all your comments. It's been a busy show. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do so. It's at the bottom there. It's the Scottish Football Zone, and we're on TikTok as well. Give it for the Scottish Football Zone. We'll be back on Friday with a big countdown to the battle of the two cities, Glasgow and Edinburgh. Celtic and Hearts with a 12:30 kickoff, and we'll be on Friday with that one. So my thanks to Robbie and Ethan as always, and Regan. I always feel Regan's about like James Forrest. He always comes on for the last 20 minutes.
So he's not come on tonight, though. He must have got injured in the celebrations.
Well, yeah, no, I meant in the first half. He went off at half time.
Oh, did he? Off half time injured.
Yeah. I heard he's away trying to calm down Chris Boyd, to be honest with you, but that's paper talk.
Maybe the way applying for the Rangers job. I don't know.
No, I've got it. He might be saving himself for Friday's game.
Yeah, my packet thistle. Yes, he'll be there. With bells on Friday night. So if you see him by,
I cannot wait until we steamroll our Partick Thistle in the players. It's going to be glorious on this show.
Oh, that's risky. That could come back tonight.
Yeah, and
listen, I've been risky all season. That I might as well get the high now.
And it will be Robbie against Regan, and that one that'll be not some game, but some banter on that one. I can't wait for that one. Thanks for watching tonight, and we'll be back on Friday at 5 o'clock.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.